Hello, everyone. Welcome back to MGSR's VE League, and this is our final race of the day. dlimes13 versus MackMcD. I'm joined by the legendary Plywood. How you doing, mate?
I'm doing good. It's actually nice and warm today, probably the last warm day of the year, so I got my walking in before this commentary session.
Nice. Gotta go out, get a stroll in every day. It's good to hear. Both runners are ready, so I'm gonna send us over to the other screen. Hopefully not break anything. Looks good. Okay. And I'll reset the timer. That's probably a good idea.
This race was already determined. You can all go home.
And my timers aren't resetting. I'm just gonna swap it back to the screen and go back. That should fix it.
Yeah,
Hopefully.
yeah.
Or no.
All right, hang on. Let's just see if that did anything. It's like the elements are just gonna sit there. Oh, there we
Okay,
go.
they're gone.
Okay,
They're gone.
we fixed it, folks.
All right, let's. I'm gonna calm down. And they are away. So, dlimes13, MackMcD, both of them have had world record in this category multiple times. dlimes 3 times, I think. MackMcD twice. So incredibly good runners of the game. PBs are around 45 seconds apart, but Limes' PB of 102.14 is not the kind of run you would replicate inside of a race. You have to play, to the wire, incredibly risky in a lot of sections. The other thing to say is that Limes had some trouble in his previous race. He played very sloppy compared to how he'd normally play. So MackMcD certainly got a chance to take him in this one.
You don't want to sleep on Mac. Um, and as this league goes on, everyone's going to get a little bit more prepped and practice from doing this week after week. So,
Yeah, speaking of, rough starts, MackMcD had a lot of trouble in his first race, improved solidly in his second. Um, I think we're going to see that's my guess is we're going to see a very strong performance from him today.
I've been with the unit since
as
I was
And
Mac
looks
born.
gets left
Blood
side
on the
and Limes
battlefield,
gets right
honor
side,
and victory were my parents.
he got a left side instant shot, right? So
yeah, that helps. Definitely helps. But he missed that shot as Olga was coming down. You just do not like to see it. And Olga was aiming from below rather than above. This is looking a little rough.
yeah, when she goes back the second time, she'll always go low. So it's not really something that you practice that often because you rarely ever see that situation. Oh, that was a nice headshot, right? That was really clever to lock on and then aim up to get the back of her head.
Mac is definitely on his back foot going into the rest of this tanker. And he's in this weird spot. Yeah, most people are not ready for Olga being on the other side. So it's a bit disorienting to have to
Yeah,
deal with that.
yeah. If you kill her on the left side, her body will be on the left side as well. So it's kind of strange, as you said, Plywood. Not many people are ready for that, and it can mess up your movement, especially if like a lot of players will just hold the direction while the codex skipping, and you'll do that like across the game. You'll buffer your movement ready for when you get control of the character, and that's exactly what happened there by the looks of it.
That's right. As Limes enters the engine room, going for that drop down strat we've seen so many players do throughout this league. Taking out the guard's radio and heading on over to the west end of the engine room, wasting ammo just cuz. No reason other than that. And hopefully he'll get that nice clean roll into the backup unit trio approaching him.
Yeah, his movement looks solid all the way to it, so sets it up nicely. If you kind of waste any movement on your way to the room with the sensor, the guards will be in different positions as you reach them. But that was
That was
some
a
nice
very
movement.
clean sensor shot as well from Limes. Let's see how Mac handles it. The sensor shot. It looks like he maybe tranked the guard or something, so he's going to lose a little bit of time from that. Not too big of a deal. It's more of a deal when you're just doing tanker on its own. The time loss isn't too major, and Lime's doing the USP into the trank shot.
I like the bit of movement so you don't walk through the guard. Walking through guards as they're like passing out or um as they become like a body on the floor, your movement becomes really, really slow, so I like that moving around him.
It's pretty tricky to
Max,
get that movement. It's such tight corridors.
if you want to not get the alert in deck 2, you need to hook the right. Basically, if you're going to do the normal strat where you just trank the guard, if you hug the right wall, you'll never get an alert. Essentially,
Limes,
he's having a little bit of trouble here, right, with this guard rush.
not the cleanest guard rush, but gets the job done with one bullet to spare. As Mac starts his, and looking pretty
Better, yeah,
solid,
better.
pretty solid with those shots.
It's a shame we got the slow death on the final guard before the 3 spawn in. Um, it does lose like a second or something. You can avoid ever getting the slow death animation by shooting the guard in third person with the SOCOM. Oh, Limes looks a bit shaky on that hold one.
He was a little close to that guard. Looked like he was
And
about to make the mistake I did last week.
yeah, the movement was suspect, but you both failed it like at the same time last week. It was like you're in the same position, you both failed it. But yeah, holds, you just want to get out of them, right? You just hope for the best. You just want to get out of them as quickly as possible. You really do breathe such a sigh of relief when you enter that computer after getting your pictures, thinking, "Oh God, the nightmare is over."
Yeah, my heart rate always increases once you get the hold one. 'Cause that's where it's just like, ugh. One of the few places and very easy where a continue is quite likely.
Yeah, one definitely among the more dangerous rooms in the run. Someone said, "Why doesn't MackMcD use radar?" And the answer is he's old school. You do want to use radar in very easy, and it's only used for swim glitch. Basically, it's a lot easier to see where you're going when you're out of bounds in the swim glitch. But Mac is old school, no radar for him.
Yeah, it doesn't really make it doesn't save you time or lose you time on its own. I like having radar on personally, just as another visual cue for my movement, but it's not necessary. It's just helpful potentially if you know how to use it.
Yeah, I've always used it, and I just find myself looking at it in certain places. It's not like to know where you're going. Like we know where we're going. It's just helps for moving around boxes in certain areas, and it's a tool, and it's completely free to use. So it's worth having on, I think.
Yeah, even if you're really familiar with these games, the radar is still quite helpful. Um, like in Solid 1, even though I know that game very well, still use the radar cuz why not? It's there. I can see where guards are moving. I know when I need to do my movement, etc. So, as we are heading up to the elevator for the plant chapter and D-Lime's going back for the M9.
This is becoming like the new cartwheel club. People who get the M9 and people who don't. There's no time save in doing this. Limes mentioned earlier, it might be better to do this if you do M9 Fat Man. You don't get a ton of M9 bullets in the plant chapter. You get 109 in tanker, and then you get 15 in plant. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I like just picking it up just for that, just to have some extra ammo. Not that you really need it, but what is going on with Mac? I think his stream is lagging a little bit.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I thought it
I
might just
was
be on
like,
my
is
end.
he? At first, I thought he was just staring at the shelf for no reason. Uh, I'm like, Mac, you're in a race right now.
That strut A roof cartwheel for the to get in the gap in the fence, it is actually quite tricky, I feel. I've seen a lot of variance between runners of people getting that cleanly. There's a lot of time to be lost there if you don't get that right.
So, are we gonna see the conveyor belt route from Limes? You
Yeah,
think?
I
Or
was thinking that going in. No, no way, right? No way is gonna do it. There is a new there is a new route for defusing bombs in Very Easy, and it involves picking up the box and using the conveyor belt to transport you around the plant. It's very difficult. I think it saves like a few seconds if done perfectly, but it's so hard to execute. Maybe one day we'll see everyone doing it, and that will just become the standard. But right now, it is considered too difficult. I know Limes has messed with it. Whether or not he's going to pull it out in this race, personally, I'd be very shocked. I'd be very, very shocked. I don't think Mac will do it. He's old school. He
no,
does old
no,
school things.
I don't think so. Mac has some things he has acknowledged that he has to pick up. Um, little changes in certain rooms, and I know he was expressing interest in the 2.5 or 2 point. I guess you could call it the 2.5 shot Harrier, since you do like uh, a weak shot in there. But
I think the invention of that is so good, not only for like high level play, but it's so much easier for a beginner to pick up than 5+1. 5+1 is a tall order for someone who's new to this game.
Lime's shooting at Snake and breaking the box. Cute little doodad as he goes across the bridge and dropping down.
A fun fact about that box, if you have an automatic weapon there, which obviously you can't get in the game as standard, but if you action replay in an automatic weapon and fire it at the box, it just continuously sheds, but it can't break, and you just end up with particles like all over the map.
That's a good fun fact. Nice clean drops from both competitors. Um, it's a very subtle thing, but it, it's something that you think about more when you're playing VE at a high level. Is your drop points when you're going down rails? Because if you hold on to the direction, Raiden or Snake will put their back to the rail, and then they'll do the animation to climb down. But if you stop just in front of the rail and press triangle or Y, depending on what kind of controller you're using, the top face button, they'll just go over the rail without having to do that back animation.
Yeah, something I've been doing recently to avoid putting my back against the wall is throwing out a punch because you can cancel a punch by getting on the rail, but you can't cancel the like lean in, putting your back against the wall animation. So although doing it the way they did it is better, using a punch buffer is still faster than putting your back against the rail.
It's
But
a,
I
it's a,
mean,
it's a good strategy, especially if you're pretty fresh to the movement in this game, I think, rather than having to stop perfectly in front of the rail and knowing that you're in position.
yeah, I mean, there's so much nuance to the movement in this game. There's a lot that goes into it. It may not be
Yeah.
completely obvious when you first take a look at
Uh,
it, but it really is complicated.
yeah, I don't know if it's the most complicated movement in the series. I feel like Solid 3 might be a bit more complicated movement wise than 2, but just the way Raiden moves is Wow, that movement, by the way, from
Yeah, that
Limes
was
is
that was
wow.
exceptional, right? Because he loses absolutely no time. So he loses like no time to go out of the way to, because the previous method, you'd go all the way right and then roll into the left. That's running basically in a straight line.
I
That's
quite
so
like that.
good.
I gotta
Yeah,
try
same,
that out.
same. Yeah, I
And
like it
Mac
a
just
lot.
take it nice and safe, which I respect. Don't want to blow yourself up. It's a real hassle.
Yeah, I think me and you are similar in the way that we look at things that other runners do in this game, and we'll be like, that looks a bit dangerous. I don't think I'm gonna do that. And then as soon as it becomes consistent and like, yeah, you just press this and it works 100% of the time, we're just doing it the next day. Like a lot of crazy ideas come out in this game. Before we find consistent strats, people do the craziest things in rooms first.
Ooh, Lime's messed up his coolant rise. Little time loss for him in Strut A. Maybe Mac can capitalize on that with some cleaner movement compared to Limes. And again, he's getting caught up on these pipes.
Yeah,
That's
it's kind
probably
of
about 2 seconds lost.
yeah, it's kind of funny because we were talking about a strat earlier where you run through the guard, which I saw you do and I've started doing now. And he was like, "Yeah, well, I do that room too quick, so the guard's never there." Well, he's there now. He's there now, Limes. The guard's there now. He literally said that during comms on the last race, so it's so funny that happened.
Strut A is, I think, one of the hardest rooms in the entire game, movement wise,
Yeah,
because it just feels it's hard to make it consistent, like your movement, without being slow. It's pretty weird, and the corners are so tight, the quarters are so tight, and just like these little adjustments can cause some problems.
yeah, I've said it a few times. It is one of the more difficult rooms to execute well in the whole run, and there is huge variance between um, different players. You see everyone go through that room. There's just all kinds of variants on what times you can come out with. Requires a lot of practice to get good at. It probably has the most
Definitely.
inputs of any room as well. I think it has the most inputs of any room. Just mentally going through the entire run now.
It's gonna be quite a lot of processing to do.
Matt keeping it respectable, despite the mishaps he had at the start of the run. He's staying in this well.
Yeah, he's staying within the same room as Limes, which is a good feeling, certainly. So something I was curious about is there are times, oh, and he missed the wheel. He missed the
It's,
wheel
it's really
into the
difficult to get
bomb.
that cartwheel.
Yeah, it's really tricky. Um, Sometimes I see Limes holding up the gun. I don't know if it's just for memes or he has some sort of purpose behind it.
Um, I mess with it a lot too, and I think there's an idea that you might be able to get better lines or more better visual cue for lines, but he kind of says that he does it for memes, but at the same time, he might just be saying that and he is doing it for a purpose as well. I don't know. I've messed around with it a lot, and maybe extending your gun, you'll hit the load zone slightly earlier on doors. It does feel like you go into doors easier as well. You know how the sliding door, you can sometimes walk into it slightly before you go through it? Does
Hmm.
seem to alleviate that issue.
Yeah, entering the doors well, I think, is another one of these very subtle movement strategies that you can't really pick up on unless you've seen this game a lot. Um, and I think that's actually going to be a source of small improvements as we go forward with this category into 2021 is optimizing every door entrance and seeing if there's anything we can do to get through doors a little bit more quickly.
I mean, we'll look anywhere for a slight
Yep.
time save at this point. We really will look anywhere. Um, this run has been grind did. And what I wanted to say before, when you were talking about the movement in MGS3 may be harder, but it's definitely not been explored as much as it has been in this game. Maybe it does have like a higher level that hasn't been achieved yet, but this game really has been explored and every bit of movement has been looked into.
Been looking a little bit more sweaty the last minute or so. I think he's getting a little bit hazy. He's been rolling in some strange spots. Hopefully, after Fortune, you get a breath in and recollect himself, because he really isn't that far behind, and this lead could definitely change due to aims or the Harrier.
Yeah, it's one of those things like you make a couple of cartwheel mistakes and then you kind of take like a mental moment to adjust yourself and think, I really need to stop doing this, because there's so much time to be lost from bad cartwheels. If you cartwheel into a wall, you're losing 1 full second. It's a lot of time. I think what the main thing people do is they don't respect Raiden's turn speed. People just tap a direction and try and cartwheel, but you have to give Raiden a chance to turn and face that direction first. It doesn't happen instantly, like you can't turn backwards and forwards instantly.
No, he does not turn instantaneously, and sometimes when you're trying to get like a certain angle and you like do it during a rotation, you can get thrown off because of that.
Limes won't pick up the chaffs here. He'll just go around, it's much safer. What do you think of chaffless, Plywood? Have you started doing chaffless yet?
No, I've kind of just stuck to. I did chaffless one run. It was kind of a mess. I think if I just knew uh, how it worked a little bit better, it wouldn't be quite as bad. For anyone trying to know how, oh no, Mac. Oh, see, that's the point where I prefer using the chaff, but if I like miss the chaff, I'd rather just like go chaffless at that point, rather than like trying to turn around, because
Uh,
it's just a waste of time at that point, trying to pick up the chaff, and then you get into that situation where you get blown up on top of it. It's like I should just know the backup.
yeah, I agreed. Same. I went back for it in my race against Tyler and I lost about 7 seconds. Because I had to turn back and then I carefully tried to pick it up and I still got blown up by the Claymore. Definitely just need to learn the backup, and if you miss it, accept it, move on and do chaffless.
See right there, Mac didn't. I guess he wants to prep the spray for the Claymore pickup rather than have the M9 out for the shot, but just these little things that he can do to clean things up a little bit. Old habits, though.
Yeah. And
And
personally, what I do is I end Fortune on the M9. I use coolant all the way to Fat Man, and then I end on nothing to make the game automatically equip my SOCOM.
Lime's had a pretty decent Fat Man, I would say.
Yeah,
Let's
he
see
did.
how
Everything was
Mac
fast
does.
bomb apart from the one on the actual pad when he started. He tried to set it up, but he just missed it. Good fast bomb for Mac.
Staying very close to Fat Man. Boom. Not bad.
Decent. He really wants a fast bomb here, and he'll get it as well. Very nice.
Movement menuing a little like, oh, where am I moving my stuff? But it's okay. So we're heading into Shell 1 core, and as everyone who's been watching these races know, that can be a big turning point. This whole next 10 minutes really can be a huge turning point in a race. A lot of things can go wrong. So we'll see how the competitors handle it. I'm very excited to see Limes go for the Claymore strat, which I'd say is one of my favorite strats that have come out since this VE league started. Really nice cartwheel going up those stairs. I didn't even know about that one. That's really cool.
Yeah, the aerial sterials. Yeah, they're really cool.
Aerial sterials.
It'll catch on. If I keep
Oh,
saying it, it'll
jeez.
catch on.
That's really cute.
But yeah, you can do that every single time you enter the Shell 1, so it's, heading towards the Arsenal elevator as well. You can do it there. There's one in Strut D going Shell 1. There's one on the EF bridge. There's one after Leap of Faith. There's quite a few of them now. And they do save time. Lime's going for not only the Claymore setup, but also the risky approach, which is the right side. This is looking good, as long as he doesn't get hit by the guards coming down from the elevator. But no, his movement's nice.
Yeah, it was pretty good timing. You can judge how fast it is by when you're entering that room as the guard's leaving, and that was pretty fast, so really nice from Limes. And Mac is doing a more traditional approach.
I wonder if
taking it
Limes will.
nice and quiet.
I wonder if Limes will pause buffer for aims. He's threatened to do it in a race a couple of times. I've not seen him do it yet. Oh, he didn't hold select for the codec.
Uh-oh. That's like 2 minutes lost right there.
He doesn't dare do it in race because he doesn't want to get it banned.
I mean, these aren't RTA races, so IGT strats are valid.
Absolutely. And you've got the Southwest aims, which is a bad aims, but it's also the best aims we've seen today. Everyone else has had Northwest, which is the worst.
Every PB I've had on very easy recently has been Northwest aims, so I'm really waiting for like my break.
I go in with the mentality that I'm always going to get the worst possible aims. Like I never count it as a possible time save. And Mac as well, bad aims. Everyone's had terrible aims today.
Just not the day for aims. Thursday is not aims day.
And we're going to see another aerial stereo from Limes here. This is one of my favorite ones. I think it's the best looking one. Let's go.
Yeah, that one is the weirdest looking by far. It just doesn't look like it should happen.
Yeah, I think it's because of the camera angle you get to see it at. It just looks ridiculous. But it's the same one you do after Leap of Faith as well, which I don't think Limes does. I'm not sure. That one's more reserved for madmen like Platonic.
Well, I guess I should be put in that camp then, because I started doing.
Oh, you do that one. You do the crazy one, right?
Yeah, I've started. I know, gotta implement most of anything, unless I don't feel like I can do it comfortably.
Yeah, you've been like avoiding swim glitch up to now, right? I don't feel particularly comfortable with it either.
I'm still not. I mean, I've tried practicing it. I'm just really not that good at the positioning and the input pacing. There's something's just not clicking. And
I feel like it needs a setup. Once we have a setup for it, you always
more
press
than what
this,
we
it
already
always
have.
works. Yeah, we need something consistent that says if you do this, it always works.
That'd be
And
nice.
one. He did the Shell 1 aerial stereo, despite the fact that it probably doesn't even save time. It just looks good.
Going for the top cipher. Personally, I don't really agree with that. I feel like it's better to go for a different sensor first rather than like waiting. But I mean, it's all good. Still a very clean set of sensors. We'll see how Limes handles the Harrier. What his strat of choice will be for this one.
We're going to see a very unique setup out of him.
He looks like he's doing the 2.5 setup.
Looks good so far. We've seen him miss this once in tournaments so far, in competitive races. And again, today he's missed it.
I missed that shot. Now going to aim for the Harrier for the die shots. It's gonna have to wait for the Harrier to go for the style shots. So this isn't really that fast of a Harrier. We'll see how Mac handles it.
Yeah, Mac could pick up some serious time here.
He's going for 5-shot, but he missed that 5th
Oh, he's
one.
not getting that 5th shot.
So this is looking like it's going to be pretty similar in speed. Oh, he didn't get that
Didn't
plus
get the +1.
Yeah, this is not looking too hot.
That benefits Limes. He gets away with messing up the Harrier.
And just to be clear, I'm saying messed up in the sense that it's not perfect.
Yeah,
It was still a good. It was still a good Harrier. It just wasn't like ideal. And especially in comparison to, and he didn't hide perfectly there. Yeah, this is.
This is one of those times where you benefit from having the radar as well, because the Harrier can pick 2 options during these sections of where to go.
Yeah,
Nice recovery.
I feel like there really is no reason not to take the radar. Oh, and he went for the save boss. He talked to the save boss. Don't ever talk to the save boss.
It's not the
something you
worst
wanna
time
talk
loss in
to.
the world. It's just because of how strict the category is. It feels a lot worse than it is. A couple of seconds.
It's just salt in the wound. That's really the problem. I have a feeling Mac's feeling a little just like, really, after that Harrier, really now, save boss.
Yeah, it will deflate you somewhat. Things like that. I mean, even with the Harrier, you still would have been slightly behind, but it would have brought the race a lot closer.
It's unfortunate. I think we'll probably see swim glitch out of Mac as sort of a,
Hail Mary, I guess.
yeah, pretty much.
You gotta go for it. If you can do it, with any kind of consistency and you're behind, you gotta go for it.
Yeah, agreed.
I'm so bad at it, I'd take that option away from myself.
Well, that's the thing. If you're not consistent at it, it's just not worth it on PC. It really isn't.
Yeah.
If we were on PS2 subsistence, where the load times are so bad, and then it's a little bit more justified. But PC, you're not really losing that much time from the cutscene. So.
Yeah, I think we'll see a big swing glitch from MackMcD.
He pretty much has to, unless he just wants to, lick his wounds and wait for next week. You have to get every advantage you can at this point.
Limes is a good player. He's difficult to beat in a race.
It's a difficult nut to crack.
Yeah.
I would say.
So true. He's not lost a full game race in competitive so far. I mean, like, ever. So it's a pretty good record to go against. Plays well.
Man. See, I understand why people do that menu on B1, but honestly, I feel like it's just the timing is a bit awkward to do the Nikita Stinger menu. I prefer, unless the elevator's coming fast, which then you would do it on the first floor rather than trying to squeeze it in on a cartwheel on the basement. But it's all personal preference. But I gotta
I
get
would
Mac.
never do it in that room.
I gotta get Mac on my cold drinks cartwheels.
Yeah, I
Save
tried
them.
it. I don't like the movement. I don't know when to let go of like down right, basically. I don't know. I felt awkward with it. I like that people are gonna have a setup for that room. I feel like people's movement in that room can be really, really bad.
Oh, it's like basically you just like you hold down right once you leave the elevator. That's basically all it is. And then you wait until right has turned, and then you go for the wheels. So you have to wait until he's 45 on the down left.
I'll take another look at it. But yeah, it looks like good stuff. Another underappreciated room in this room, much like Strut A, for just how much time you can lose to bad movement. If Limes gets his way, we'll be playing this whole game on the D-pad before long.
The D-pad is good. It's only bad when you're dealing with the DualShock 2 and you have to, you know, not use a thumb, but you have to like drop a 10-pound weight on the D-pad so it won't start walking. It's like the only thing that's annoying. Actually, moving forward.
Oh, he missed the final
He
stinger on
missed the
Bam.
last shot. Oh boy, it's okay. I mean, as long as he doesn't miss this, he's fine. Yeah.
He gets the fast death animation, so he does get 3 seconds of that back. Max going for swim glitch. Oh, he's got to get up there. 2-side call.
This is a
3.
big for me. Oh, it's not saving time.
A break even at best, that. This is where
Yeah.
the radar really comes in handy.
Yeah, because you can't really see where you're at. See, he's like way off. Mac, you got to use that radar. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So probably lose a tiny bit of time for that.
He misses the shot too.
What's going on today with Vamp? It's rough.
They're just getting a little bit too antsy on that final shot.
Yeah, that what Mac had there really isn't as bad a time loss as you might think.
No,
Probably 2-3 seconds, something like that.
it's really not that bad, but you know, that was another missed opportunity to save a little bit of time over Limes. And you know, once that's done, like now that we're in Emma Escort, the pace has been mostly determined, and there's very little left in terms of potential lead changes.
Yeah, sans like mistakes, there really isn't any opportunity to like execute better. The route is very set. We know like how to do it well, and it's quite easy to do correctly, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
I mean, there's some minor improvements you can do to your movement, and there is some risky stuff you can go for, but like there's nothing quite as significant as Ames RNG or the Harrier
Yeah.
at this point. A lot of it's fairly small and just like pitfalls to avoid. Like you could just press the elevator button once for Emma and just like cross your fingers that you get a fast elevator and save that second, but
Yeah, it's just gotta be like not the slowest one. Like because you can get like the double press speed from one press on the elevator.
Limes had a awkward grab of Emma, ended up being on the wrong side.
That's something we didn't mention as well, because Mac did swim glitch, and he had quite a slow swim glitch. When you do it, the wheel door on the way out is still closed, and you have to open that manually, and it takes 8 seconds, I believe, to open. So, however much time it looks like he's saved by swim glitch, you always lose that bit on the way back.
Yeah, it just kind of it just equalizes out. Thankfully, you can open the door from the opposite side. Otherwise, swim glitch and the elevator glitch in Sons of Liberty wouldn't work.
It is weird that you can open it from the other side. Like, why is that programmed in there?
I don't know, but I'm glad it is. Very clean bump, second bump from Limes. Very nice movement and getting that fast hand grab. I'm gonna have to take that one too. Limes uses a audio cue to know when to stop spraying. I believe he uses like the second ring.
Yeah, second ring of the cell phone, which wouldn't be good in certain other versions of the game, right? Because it doesn't always play that. It can play like the Metal Gear theme tune on certain versions.
Yeah, the Japanese version has the MGS1 theme, which is I'd say pretty awesome. It's pretty cool to listen to, but
It is cool, and it takes you by surprise the first time you see it.
it's interesting that it was only in the Japanese version, and then the other versions just have a very standard cell phone ring. So I'm starting the Twilight sniping sequence, the Strudel oil fence.
He's decently ahead, and while it's not insurmountable, it is a very good lead at this point.
Yeah, it's not like the most massive gap, but it's Limes, so the possibilities of him having excuse me, massive issues.
Bless you.
Thank you. Are fairly minimal.
I don't think Limes will start playing this as a 61 codec or anything like that, or getting the D mic out here, as we've seen other people do in the tournament.
Nah, Limes is, he's a cool customer. I mean, really, the memeing around and messing around, he just wants to get it done. He wants to get the job done and move on.
I mean, I know what he's going to say no matter what coming out of this race. He's going to be like, oh, I played so trash, it was so bad, but this is an X. Both of them have put two excellent performances out so far. It's a very difficult game to be exceptionally fast at.
Yeah, they both had their fair share of mistakes. I think it's just Mac made. He got a little bit shaky by the end of bomb disposal. And there's just a few things like Mac needs to learn to just update his game just a little bit. It's not huge. These aren't huge things where it's like, wow, why aren't you doing that? But they add up. That's the thing. It's really easy for people who have played this game for a really long time, like Mac or Tyler or myself, who have been in who've been running MGS2 in the community for some time now, to just kind of get used to what you did before. But this is the case with speedrunning in general. You always have to make these adjustments. Things get found. People are constantly trying to look for stuff, and you either implement it or you don't. And usually, if you don't implement things, it's gonna hurt you.
Yeah, and literally, like, things are being still found on a weekly basis. People coming up with new strats to this game all the time. You really do have to kind of, like, stay tuned in to what's going on, I feel.
I mean, it's hard to track, and I think we could do a little bit of a better job because of like dlimes tutorial is really good, but there's been quite a bit of adjustments. So it's like a good baseline, certainly, but we've had a lot of little things.
Yeah, he has
that
spoke about doing
accumulate.
he has spoke about doing an additional additional parts to it, like new videos for certain sections that have changed. But I think it's just some of it's just still in flux, and it feels like we go one way with a strat, and then a couple of days later we're going a different direction. I don't know. I guess it's like it's hard
I
to
don't
know
think
when the right time is to like
Yeah,
say,
I don't
okay,
think
we
we
do
need to
this
make a
now.
full-on tutorial. I think what we need is to um basically have a set of updates or just like a um general movement stuff because so you can have those additional parts because it's pretty massive undertaking making a tutorial for a game. So being able to just here's this has been updated, that's been updated. It gets hard to manage, but it's really great how this league has improved on the route, even though a lot of it has been fairly small stuff, some frames here, half second there, what have you. To have all that is nice. Um, and it's a good incentive to improve on the route and try to figure out new stuff just so you can, not just so you can get an edge on the competition, but just to push the game forward.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in the league is the kind of player who wants to find something so they can turn up to a race with it and be like, "Oh, I know something they don't." People are pretty solid at like sharing information with one another, um, and yeah, like, I mean, we're just chipping away at the time. We're trying to find another 15 seconds or so we can get like a consistent 101.59. I think that's the next big barrier for the game. Would be a 101. Before the end of the
15
year, do you think?
seconds. Ooh.
Do you think we'll see a 101 before 2021?
Mm. I'm not gonna make a prediction on it, honestly.
I
I
I think we
honestly
will.
don't know. I don't know.
I'm certain we will.
Really clean vamp shots from Limes, not doing
Yeah,
the zoom in.
it looked a bit wild, but it worked.
Sometimes you just gotta wild it out, Apache.
My wilding out days are done. I've messed up Vamp 2 too many times. I'm
Oh, yeah.
stay at home with my blanket and my cup of coffee and my careful Vamp.
I know the feeling. After last week, I've, I feel a gross feeling in my throat.
It's just not a room that you take for granted. You don't take that room
No,
for granted.
not at all.
Because it's the fastest difficulty, everything has to be executed perfectly all the time, and mistakes are just so punishing.
Really clean from Mac. See, that wasn't wild and out. That looked pretty calculated, I would say.
Yeah, with confident Vamp too. Limes into the first big unskippable cutscene. Saying hello in the chat. Hello D Limes, you doing well?
Oh, I
I
thought he
think
was
it's
saying hi to Ocelot and Solidus.
oh maybe. So I think it's worth saying that for anyone joining us, not really sure what's going on, this is the MGS2 Very Easy League. We're in week 3, and we have 11 players competing in a round robin tournament style format. Everyone plays everyone. Oh, it's
Mac!
okay. He wasn't on a panel that falls, so it's cool.
Oh.
They're bound to find you. Listen, I'll free you in
So
a
yeah,
little while.
um,
Brace yourself.
every Thursday at 6 p.m. EST, we will show you some games from the league from that week. We won't show every game on here. We normally show 3, sometimes as many as 4, and sometimes as little as 2. But we'll always have something for you every week here on Thursday. And we also have streams going on in the Discord of races that happen during the week. I'll post a schedule in the chat so you can have a look at that. If you want to see any games, as the games get scheduled, You can come and watch them in the Discord. You're free to join the channel and watch them. And also we'll have replays up on the YouTube as well.
Excuse me, it's the YouTubes.
On the YouTubes.
There you go.
So that punch setup for Jejunum that Limes did there, we've been experimenting and we think it might be faster because you get a cleaner cartwheel. Normally, if you just run at that guard and cartwheel, you'll hit the wall, which is a little bit slower. So punch may be faster. Getting a perfect line and doing the aerial is best, but it's really difficult to do. And you run the risk of not going through the Tengu. As long as you don't get an alert and you get across that gap, all is well.
Lime's trying to call the codec a little earlier than.
It's never worth trying to predict it. Just wait for it to happen and press it. The codecs, for anyone who doesn't know, the codecs in ascending colon come in a random time. Each one has a random time, has a variance of like 2 to 3.5 seconds, something like that. But it's different every time is what I'm saying. So you can't accurately predict it, and you shouldn't ever try to do it, because if you open your codec, you're instantly losing time versus reacting to it.
Yeah, that's the realm of tassing at that point.
Moron. What are you thinking?
I think what people do is they'll try and predict it a couple of times, they'll get it right, and they'll start to think that they can do that every time.
Damn kid.
You
We call
just play,
that hubris.
yeah, playing with fire.
Moron. What are you
Limes
thinking?
is expressing frustration with
Moron.
Snake, I guess.
What are you thinking?
It's just another one of these rooms where everyone does something a little bit different.
Moron. Damn kid.
Snake is
Moron.
taking a lot of damage. Alright, he's done.
It'd be so funny if he accidentally killed him.
Yeah, that would have been the thing that Mac would needed. Lime's doing some memeing and memeing a little bit too hard. Here I was saying earlier, oh, he's not gonna mean that much, and Snake nearly died.
Just a little adjustment to what I was saying about the codecs. B-Man in the chat said there's 7 variants, each 10 frames apart between 3 and 4 seconds, selected randomly. So yeah, don't try and predict it.
Nice. Tengu 1 skip from Limes. Going for
Very
that
clean.
PPK and switching the camera out on that kick. Oh, the menu's a little bit awkward. Went on the magazine. It's okay though.
This is a good Tengu 2 position from Limes here.
Yeah, it's a bit tricky getting into good spot and aiming at the right spot and then timing the shots out. It's something you have to be very perceptive about your positioning with your aim, Raiden, and how the Tengus move. Plus, you have that whiteout that can be really distracting, but this is looking like a really clean Tengu 2 from
Oh, he
Limes.
thought he was done with his own guard, so he moved. But he still had one more to come. But yeah, that looked really fast aside from that mistake. He got the fish and mailed screen instantly into another fish and mailed screen, which shows that it's how fast it is.
Better menu from Mac.
Unfortunate.
See how is oh, blasting himself.
It can happen. For safety, what I do is I get into the best wick position, and then I let the first guard drop to make sure Snake gets rid of the Tengu that stood on top of me. I think he's a
Letting
little
it
far
bubble
back.
through.
He's shooting a little early as well. And
Maybe you
sometimes
can,
as well, you contend him with the guards. The way they come out is different every time. The way the guards run out, and sometimes they can just stop at the top and not actually move out. So you really have to get used to when to fire, and mistakes can happen. Again, this room has huge variance. But he's done with Tengu 2 as well.
As Limes ends his speech, Mac is starting his, and we'll be seeing the very slow and costly raise fight.
Holy
as
crap, that was awesome. Oh, he
going
missed it. I
for-
thought he hit it. Nah, it's not the
Oh.
worst time loss if you mess it up. It's about 3 seconds if you mess it up like that.
Are you awake yet, Jack? GW, the Arsenal AI is corrupted beyond repair. I admit that I underestimated you.
So
Man,
that can be a
Bestwick.
little time save for Mac, but
I'll squeeze the
it's
answers out of you
just
instead,
gonna be
my
really
son.
hard. Limes is gonna have to choke so hard that we're gonna have to send someone to give him the Heimlich maneuver. So
He'd have to have a truly, truly bad Solidus at this point.
putting his health to just life.
It's not
I
the answers.
personally would not do that. I mean, sure he doesn't do that much damage, but that would be not so fun. I guess you could just use the ration, but
Yeah, I just don't
Ugh,
like playing with
I don't
Faye
like
like
that.
that.
No, I don't either. There's just no reason to. Max going for the more typical raise strat. It's very easy and consistent. Boom, boom, boom. I feel like he should have hit the left leg, but
I was about to say I
fine.
don't like shooting the right leg. The right leg is further back. The stance the Ray takes when he gets on stage means the right leg is further back. Yeah, Platonic's right. You get a health refill at Solidus, but I'd be more scared of just like accidentally not pressing triangle at the right time and dying.
Let's go.
Well, I did not know that, but even so,
You're
I
not
just
used to
tap
going into the fight
lightly.
with a single point of health missing, so something you may not notice.
Good work, Jack. But this is
Clean phase 1 from Limes.
Gonna be seeing how Limes handles phase 2. I don't think he does the parry strat. I think he just goes for a block.
He does block, then parry. Oh, he went for the
Ooh.
parry. Just to spite us because we were saying it.
Well,
He does parry in phase 2, I believe. He might change his mind because he missed the first one. Yep, misses
he
both.
whiffed it again. It's when Solidus is that close.
GG
It's
for Limes. Is
pretty
he on number
hard.
2? Oh, you did it.
Yeah, I got it. Like that's the thing. Like I prefer being far away from Solidus if I'm going for the parry because if Solidus is really close, like getting the parry can be pretty tricky since you don't have a whole lot of time. Like you'd have to time it really precisely versus if Solidus is pretty far away. So, oh no, Mac, getting a weird pattern here.
Yeah, if you don't stand far enough away from Solidus, he won't do rockets.
Yeah, he's too close. The good news is this fight can be, well, not necessarily phase 2, but phase 1 can be completely predictable. It's just sometimes you can get a little bit off kilter. You just have to know those distances so that he always goes for the missiles. Not going for standard blocking instead of the counter. Oh, and he went for the counter on the second one, though.
GG. GG for Mac.
Do you remember
Good
this
race.
place?
Kept it close. Had some mistakes, but I think he played well. It's a tall order to play against old D-Limes.
That's
Someone will beat him in the league, I think.
Oh, yeah. I think so. I think we have some people in this league who are quite the competitors. I mean, B-Man, legendary B-Man himself, had the fastest run so far in the league.
And still, yeah, and still.
You know,
what?
Limes has not had a run quite at that caliber. So, you know, if you stack those runs against each other, that would mean Limes would lose. But, you know, that's It's just speculation. And you never know until the day of. B-Man could have a rough tanker or what have you.
The environment, our ideas, our culture, poetry.
I think we're going to see all kinds of upsets going forward. We will be going to the IGT screen as we do for all races because we need to track everyone's IGT. In case of a tiebreaker, we will take the player with the lowest accumulative time. So it's really important to play your best and not mess around with D-Max Joe and not mess around with Codex Joseph Joe Star 316 or anything like that. It was nice.
People, you know, I can't be too judgmental because I did some memes and lost time in my last race. I feel like everyone just wants to like joke around and show off. Everyone's a badass until you take a fall for no reason.
Yeah, pretty much. Thanks for coming on comms, by the way, Plywood. It's been nice to have you.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is my bye week, so it's a nice break from the VE until next week.
Who do you have next week?
That's a good question. I don't it's like in one year out the other for me.
Obviously, the fear's not set in for you yet.
No, I'm just having a good time. Welcome, Limes.
What's up?
GG, Limes. Go on, say it. I know you want to say it.
Say what?
That run was terrible.
It was crap. I didn't like it. No, it was a lot better than what I did against Plywood. But I need to clean up my vamp and I need to look into different Harrier stuff because it's not working. So, otherwise it was an okay run. I mean, I golded a few things, which was nice. Experimented with turbo a little bit, but it's whatever.
I'm curious to know how much time you lost on the raise. About 2-3 seconds, something like that.
3.1.
Yeah.
I knew the backup immediately as soon as it happened. I was looking at the life bar. But yeah, I mean, it's 3 seconds if you mess it up. So not that big of a deal.
I assume you were watching the race the whole time.
Absolutely. I was probably watching Mac more than my own screen, of course. So
you got second cutscene on Olga, right? It's such a time loss. I think you got like left side opening shot and then didn't get the second. And
yeah, Mac had a rough one. I had pretty much an ideal right side where she ended at the front, so 131 right side is just pretty good.
It's what you can hope for in a race.
But I'll take a win, 3-0. Not my best work, but I mean, whatever. I will go after B-Man's best time of the league so far, but not this week, obviously.
Plenty of games to get it in. I do think it's a great opener and it's a very low time, but I think it'll come down some more still.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, GG. Open with 3-0. That's Joe on 3-0. And me on 3-0 once I beat Platonic Guy.
Lol. But hope everybody had a good time watching. It was definitely a blast to call the first 2 races and then obviously race in the third, and we'll get to these score screens and then we'll wrap things up. Probably the biggest thing I was mad about is I've only done like turbo a couple times in runs, mostly just for cutscenes. And I was holding tab when I was entering aims, and I didn't answer a codec call.
Yeah, I saw that.
That really irked me. So I'm like, ugh.
It's it's on the longer side for the mandatory codec pauses as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it fully rings out, pauses, and then opens.
Yeah, it's almost 3 seconds. Like, it's bad.
I think we've only started to pick up recently that there's different codec speeds for opening them. They ring differently in certain sections. I think there's like 3 or 4 different types.
Mm-hmm.
the nuance of the game. Do you know your final time? You have splits, right?
Oh,
Don't
I do.
tell me.
I'm not gonna spoil it. So. Nope.
You have to watch the whole thing, folks. The whole thing.
I think we talked briefly about having like a tournament mode version of the game where it had a set aims position, and we talked about the possibility of having like auto cutscene skips and stuff like that. But really, we don't want to take like a PB away from someone. Like if someone gets PB in league play, we want it to be legit and go on the board as well. I think that's more important than
Which
normalizing
we've
the
seen
RNG.
a couple times, like
Many times.
Yeah.
I think four or five times it's happened.
Makarov with 2, BMN with 1, so at least
Joe, me.
Joe, Apache, that's 5.
I tied my
So-
PB, my old PB.
It counts
Right.
6.
6.
Mayu until so Seb, it was a PB run in league.
Yeah,
technically.
and then stuff changes, but
Still though,
Alright.
counting it. I mean, 7 times. 7 times.
all right, let me just print screen here for a few extra seconds of free time save.
It's free real estate.
Ref.
I'm watching. I'm staring at it for individual frames of lag.
Okay, time.
1:03:27.
Meh,
That's a good time.
meh.
Solid 3.
That's 6 seconds faster than my best time ever.
That's what's most important.
That it's faster than Apache.
Yep.
Lime's gonna be devastated when he loses to me in B League. Can you imagine? I would never ever stop talking about it. I still talk about beating you in a friendly 2 years ago to this day.
That's why it's not gonna happen though. That's the thing. Like, it's impossible.
Because if push comes to shove, Limes will hit the kill switch, and all the stream will shut down.
Turn the whole stream off.
All right, let's see what MackMcD, the legendary YouTuber, got for his race against dlimes the 13th.
One
104.
40,
It was a 4. I think it was a
47.
47. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you don't get no. You don't get to see that. Check
We
out
saw-
my code. We
we
I
saw
saw-
everything.
I verified it. It's on the scoreboard, so that is official. But,
How'd you clear code before someone goes to the website and types it in before you and claims it?
Yeah, someone's gonna steal your code.
All right, that about does it for week 3 of the MGSR VE League. Hope everyone's been enjoying it. We've been getting a lot of viewers. It's great to see. I'm really proud of it, how it's going.